it's not instant, but it's relatively quick. And I have a feeling that if you're posting at the same time as a lot of other people, it's slower.
Let's see how this toot works.
I haven't really looked at Twitter all day, and I'm looking just now. I'm actually kind of surprised that Twitter is up and running. Just based on the stuff I'm seeing, it's like everyone is just walking away.
Because of his mandate.
Yeah,
You have to work long hours.
Yeah, a minimum of 40 hours a week. And and here you have to check this box on this junior high school email I sent you. It's basically, do you like me? Check yes, no.
Yeah.
Do you want to work with me? Check yes, no. And if you don't do it, that's considered a resignation, which, by the way, is against the law.
Yeah. Oh, big deal. You get 3 months severance.
Yeah, yippee.
Yeah. I think Elon is in the middle of a whole lot of frack around.
Yeah.
And there's a big truck pulling up that on the side says find
Full
out.
of find out. Yeah.
Yeah. An industrial load of find out is about to get dropped off at the Twitter headquarters.
Right, why isn't that link working?
Oh. How do I position my microphone to show off my t-shirt?
Oh, nice.
Can you read it? Probably not. It's really small.
Are you on a new mic? Because you don't sound the same.
Yeah, you're not on that mic.
You're streaming.
It's all right. We're not. It won't be. It won't make.
I have
show.
words. How about now?
Oh my god.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
the Kelly we love.
Did it just get hot in here?
Oof.
You're reminding me of the time I went and said like nerdy stuff in a nice low voice at the end of the 2 Hot Talkcast one time. It was very funny. I think you were there.
I was there.
Yeah, because I was like, Battlestar Galactica, and everybody went, woo.
Yeah, by the time you were done, everyone was thinking, how far is it to my bunk?
Weird.
So anyway, it's Apple IIe display green.
Oof.
And it says, you have died of disintegration.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. It was my real talk. It was my idea, and then Eric made it as
Look
an
at that,
actual
Jeff.
shirt.
Right on the
I was
wall.
about.
And it's awesome.
Oh, look!
That's
I'm
from
hanging
Mastodon.
out right there on
My watch.
on your wrist.
That's from Mastodon. I love Mastodon.
I just what do you call it when you do the recycle arrows?
Yeah.
Boost.
Repost. I don't know.
I boosted the toot and
Toot.
showed up on your wrist.
So cool.
Everybody keeps saying like, you forget tweet was a stupid word at first too, and I'm like, yeah, but tweet isn't synonymous with farting either. So there's that.
Yeah. All right. Why is this being weird?
I hadn't thought about that till just now, and I'll
Yeah,
never
yeah.
be able to unthank it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why like everyone is like, tweet was a stupid word at first too. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but it doesn't make me think of people farting. So, glad I could share. You're welcome for that neural pathway, Jeff.
Good. It's pre-show.
Latest in a series, courtesy of Kelly. I know.
All right. Let me finish.
Also brought to you by the fact that I had to rush out and mow the lawn before it got dark today. So
What's that? It's like 20 degrees here.
I watched a car slide down my street
35.
a few minutes ago.
35 here, thanks to wind chill. which again, I
Yeah.
have some choice words for. So
Si-
I'm pretty salty
single
about the
digit
fact
here.
that I just mowed the lawn, and I'm very crabby about it.
Single digits here.
It is 19 Fahrenheit and snowing.
Well, we're under a wind warning right now. So, high wind watch warning. I don't remember. The one where they're like hunks of trees could hit the deck at any moment. So,
Well, we can be in Buffalo, New York, and they got 2 to 4 feet coming.
no thanks. I mean, if I lived there, I'd probably be prepared for it though. Like, that's the problem is here, everybody's a meltdown when the weather gets bad. So we get a good wind regularly, but we haven't had any transition time this year. We went from summer to winter, and that was it. So
That's usually how it goes here.
yeah, but you do that like 8 times a year too. Like you don't remember
On
what
a slow year.
Remember what Slackbot used to say? All of the seasons, all in one day. That was you. So
Yeah, that's very true.
yeah. You could either need your air conditioning or your snow boots at any moment.
Yeah.
That's
And actually, you can get in your car, take off, have the air conditioner running, and 15 minutes later, you have to switch it to the heater, not because the air conditioning's too cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, defrost your windshield after you've scraped the glass, and then you're driving down the road and it's like, oh, I actually need the air conditioning. Colorado's weird like that.
Yes, it is. One more post. Not posting in that certain spot anymore.
I can Mastodon that too, can't I?
Yep, I tagged you.
I keep sitting down in bursts. Like, okay, I have like half an hour, and then sit down and go through all of my Mastodon notifications, which is
Sitting down in bursts. The image in my head,
Yeah,
it's just fantastic.
It's just nice to have like, what the hell, battery? It's nice to have a bunch of people follow me, which is, kind of cool. But also it's fun to find like all the new people or people that maybe I didn't realize were following me before, because I kind of redid it over at Mastodon and just, oh, you followed me? Like, if you have like any followers, I will totally follow you back. Like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. Yeah. And this is the thing that Don keeps telling people is there's no algorithm over there. Nothing, like, it is precisely what you make it. It is not make it approximate what you want, and then the algorithm will sort it. Not what's happening. It just shows you everything that person posts, the end. So that's the thing that I actually like about it. So, yeah. So there you go. It's given me strong OG Twitter vibes. Like
I like hearing the
2009, 2010 Twitter vibes.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. Yeah, a day or two ago.
Mhm.
And then a few minutes after that, I was like, and then I remember what Twitter became.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this one is fundamentally different, which is the other thing that's kind of nice about it. So,
all right, Kitty, the kids, are you ready?
absolutely not. Let's do this.
All right. Start audio hijack. Looks good. I am ready. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 230 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week, the last minute edition, is Kelly Gamont. Thank you so much for being here, Kelly. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, David. How about you?
Doing well. A little cold. It's getting a little cold this time of year, but
You win at cold. We were comparing notes before the show.
Yeah. I think we both do, because Jeff Gamet, of course, is here, and it's cold in Colorado too.
It's cold in Colorado too. Yeah. Just before the show, I watched a car slide uncontrolled down my street. My street is flat.
Ooh.
So I guess with the snow, it's kind of slick out there.
It is a little
So don't lick the
slick.
flagpoles.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
that's notable for you. Here, that's just what happens when the weather happens.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So this week we got some news stories. It's the week before Thanksgiving in the United States, so all kinds of stuff happening soon here with Black Friday and other things. But why not just get right into the news here for this week? Because we have to, but we want to. So the first story for this week is new Apple TV reportedly is equipped with a bind A15 chip with a 5-core CPU. The review, third generation Apple TV 4K, which was just released earlier this month as we record, has a binned version of an A15 Bionic chip with only one CPU core disabled, according to the website, the Flat Panels HD, citing information from the TV Info app from TWS. Review claims that the A15 Bionic has 5 cores in the new Apple TV, whereas the chip has 6 cores, like the iPhone 13 and iPhone 14 models. But despite this bin safe CPU, it's a fanless design. The website found that the new Apple TV roughly is 40% faster and throttle less than the previous version. So it's faster. So of course they're making a big deal out of this. What do you think, Kelly?
Well, this is a thing that already happens in other Apple products. So if you go look at the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air, and if you look at anything with Apple Silicon in it, it will show you that it's so many of this core and so many of that core for this much money, and then for like $100 more, I think, it will be this many cores and then like a couple extra of that many cores. So it'll be like an 8-core and then a 10-core. And so it's a thing that they started doing with the MacBook Airs, I think it was, and they've continued doing that. So what it is if the chip doesn't pass quality control and the whole thing, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this was how it was described to me. If the chip comes through and like one of the cores or something within the processor itself isn't working quite right, then that one becomes 8 instead of 10, or 12 instead of, or 10 instead of 12, or whatever. So they ratchet down that one a notch, and then they can still use the chip instead of having to throw it away.
Yes. Now here's the thing, though. I had no idea that was what the term binned meant.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But Kelly, which the process you're describing, yes, that's exactly what Apple is doing. I just didn't know the term. So, hey, I have a editorial request for Mac Rumors, since that's where the story came from.
Right.
Please, when you use a term to describe something, explain what the term means so that people have context for what you're saying. But now, hey, at least we figured it out, and yeah, that's a thing, and it cuts down on waste, that's for sure.
Yep. So, and then sticking with the Apple TV, the 128 gigabyte Apple TV 4K can only use half its storage because of a tvOS bug. A bug in tvOS 16.1 stops any storage above 64 gigabytes being used, and the same bug in the 16.2 beta. Well, go figure. Anyone that purchased the 128 gig model of the new Apple TV 4K is likely going to experience an annoying limitation.
For a surprise.
Yeah, we pay and you paid extra for having all this extra storage. And Macworld reported this as well. This was from PC Mag. If you're hoping for a quick fix for the media streamer, perhaps you'll be a little bit disappointed because the tvOS 16.2 beta has the same bug. So for the only workaround for now seems to be queuing downloads before you reach 64 gig false storage limit. What do you think here, Kelly?
The workaround is don't do that, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the question I have, because we've talked about Apple TV and the difference in storage and all that, like we've talked about a few times before. So I think for most people, this isn't going to be an issue, just because you're not saving a lot of stuff on your Apple TV. Like apps will take up space on it, but That's really about it, because I don't think it really, like, you can download shows to it, but there's gyrations involved. So by and large, I don't think, aside from screensavers, which I don't think take up more than 64 gigabytes if you're downloading the 4K version from Apple, I don't think it's going to profoundly affect most people. So yes, it's a bug, and yes, I'm glad that they're looking into it, and I'm glad they're going to get it fixed and it's being addressed in some fashion. But in the grand scheme of things, this isn't one of those where we have to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we get everybody upgraded, because this is bad and it's gonna end up affecting people adversely going forward or something. Like, for the most part, I think a lot of people aren't even gonna notice.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
Think
who's
so.
going to notice. Apple Arcade subscribers that
Yeah.
game on their television.
Yeah,
That will
both of them are gonna be so mad.
that'll fill up your Apple TV so fast.
Very fast.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a 64 gig Apple TV, the HD model.
Mhm.
And I don't have a ton of games on it, but over 50 gig is full.
Wow. Okay.
And that's games.
Yep.
Okay, so you are
Yeah.
50% of the people who would be affected by this bug, and you
I
don't
am
have a
50%
4K Apple
of the
TV.
people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are.
Okay, so on one hand, how can this not be fixed in the 6.2 beta or 16.2 beta? On the other hand, this is beta, and when the next beta rev comes out for 16.2, it may have the fix. So I will withhold my scathing tongue until 16.2 for Apple TV ships and doesn't have the fix.
Good call.
Yep. And speaking of updates, the tvOS 16.1.1 for the new Apple TV 4K will with a fix for app installation issue. And the Apple actually released this yesterday as we record, which is available for the third generation Apple TV 4K, which is the current model. Says the update fixes an issue where it could cause the Apple TV to be unable to install apps.
Well, that seems like a nice workaround for not having enough memory.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with the other bug.
Yeah, because it says that the third generation Apple TV was released in November, blah, blah, blah. An update was only available for the new models. It's likely that the bug it's likely that this bug addresses the issue that could cause the 128, as we just talked about, to run out of storage. But there's no confirmation whether or not it fixes it or not. So, and this is 16.1.1, which is only on the current gen Apple TV.
Okay.
How can we have this much discussion on Apple TV in one show here?
Say.
It's so many crazy things.
Because we're talking about it a lot more than anybody that shipped anything, apparently. So otherwise, maybe some of this stuff wouldn't be out in the world. So
Yeah.
it does sometimes feel like people like us, or like when I go on about why it should be a stick and that kind of thing, sometimes I feel like the only person talking about an Apple TV, to anybody. So, yeah, maybe that's validating my assessment of being the only person shouting in the wilderness about Apple TVs. So,
Ben in the chat, good to see you, Ben. He says he wants a 256 gigabyte Apple TV.
Just so he can have 128 gigabytes
128.
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just half. So I think we've had enough discussion about Apple TV for one show, don't you think?
I just want to add one little thing.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
16.1.1. Okay, that came out for iOS and iPadOS also.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, on 16.1.1, Apple TV 4K fixes an installation issue. For everyone else, it's an OMG, this is really important security update. So
that's
is
an
it also an
important
OMG really important security update for just the Apple TV 4K?
Maybe.
Sure.
It could be.
Well, I mean, if your storage is cut in half, obviously that would be that'd be an important thing to update for. I know that's not what it's for. Yeah.
Ben also said M1 with Resident Evil Village pre-installed. Oh, Ben. All right, so let's go ahead and stop talking about Apple TV and talk about some other fun things here.
What else is broken, David?
Safari apparently was broken. Some iPhone and iPad users were seeing strange Safari crashes when searching. Some iPhone and iPad users were apparently appearing to have experiencing a very curious bug in Safari. And what would happen is the app would crash during certain times when certain terms were entered. The bug was going on since this was earlier this week as we record. It said, as far as they could tell, it was a running a variant, and then they say here that it was when you typed in words like tar, BES, WAL, WEL, old, STA. That was so maybe something like
this is where
Walmart
I
or
started
Starbucks.
laughing. I was reading this list of
I know.
words.
Switch phone to Android. Was that on the list?
Yeah. So apparently later that day, this bug was fixed. Come on, Apple. What's going on with your bugs here? What do you think, Jeff?
I'm still stuck on the 3-letter combinations.
No.
What the hell? I mean, seriously, what the hell?
I know. I mean, why
so-
those?
I mean, now, granted, we're talking about software that at this point is so complex that
Right.
there's no way that any single person can understand everything in the code for any of these apps with the operating system. So weird stuff like this will crop up. It doesn't make it less funny, but stuff like this is just going to happen.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you couldn't search for Walmart or Starbucks
Yeah, you know,
or
some
best.
important
So if you wanted to find the best coffee shop around you,
or Best Buy.
you
Best
couldn't.
Buy. Yeah.
Could search for nicest coffee shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. I just think
gosh,
it's
Apple.
interesting. Some of these, like in this case, like you said, it's fixed, so it's not like it's a problem anymore or anything. But I'm always just sort of curious, with something like this that is so specific and so odd, like what it could be that caused it. Just sort of, from an academic standpoint, almost like just I wonder what it is about typing that in on Safari on iOS that would cause it to tip over. I just am very interested in what it triggered to have those 3 particular letters that tipped it over.
Based on what some people are saying in different forums, it might have actually been related to the predictive typing and the word suggestions, which would make it not a Safari thing specifically, but the problem may have been manifesting in Safari.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
And if you really want to see it live, the Twitter handle 805 or it was the codes. It's in the article here. Actually did a video screenshot, a screen recording of it, and he's typing away, and sure enough, it was crashing. So,
wow.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
So let's move on from bugs to Apple stores. Apple stores are now going to begin same device repairs for all iPhone 14 models. Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers around the world are now going to be able to complete same-day unit repairs for all 4 iPhone 14 models instead of having to replace the entire device. This was a memo was obtained by Mac Rumors for an internal memo. The change came into effect last week as we record here, and this is interesting that this is going to be happening and make it a little bit easier. So. They are raising some service fees too. So if you have let's you have Apple Care, it's $379 Apple's going to charge to fix cracked glass on an iPhone 14 Pro Max display. Yeesh. So, what do you think, Jeff?
I think this is good, and not so. I mean, well, yes, the whole part of I can take my phone into an Apple store, they can fix it there, and I take it home. As opposed to it has to go off to a repair center.
Right.
My guess is that this also has something to do with limited product availability, and by allowing the stores to do repairs, there will be fewer device swap outs,
Well,
which is
Don't
good.
we get this with each device at some point where they stop just handing you a new device and then they're actually fixing them? Isn't that
Yes,
in some
but
cases?
for a
Don't they do
lot of
that for all of the
those,
models? Okay.
yeah, but for a lot of those, it's yeah, we'll fix it, and you'll have your phone back in 3 or 4 days,
Mhm.
as opposed to we can
Yeah.
do it here, and you can
Oh,
get it
I
back
see what
this
you mean. Okay.
afternoon or
Yeah.
tomorrow
Okay.
morning.
Just what somebody
Yeah.
wants to be done is be 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
without their iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only ever had repairs that were things that were while you wait, like the
Yeah.
6 that had the weird camera thing, and
Same.
something else that was never gonna go back to the depot. It was whatever, I don't remember what it was that was wrong with my phone, but it was, here's your new phone. So
Yeah.
the only times I've ever had to do it, I never had to wait for anything. So at least for a phone. So that was the part that I was not remembering. So cool. I'm glad to know that they're at a point where they can do that and make it more convenient for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next story. This actually was announced today as we record. 1Password will now support passkeys starting in early 2023. Popular password management service 1Password is confirming that it will begin supporting passkeys next year, allowing users to sign in to supported websites and apps without a password. Instead of the biometric authentication on trusted devices using to confirm your identity, and removing passwords from the equation means it can't be compromised or phished. So passkeys, when we talk about passkeys a little bit later here, we have an article about it. It's rolled out in iOS 16, iPad OS 16, tvOS, and Mac OS Ventura. And I can't
So
wait to start using this.
The specific thing we're talking about, since we did mention earlier, using a term that nobody knows what it is.
Right.
This was a thing that they demonstrated live during the keynote at WWDC earlier this year, where like your computer just sort of knows and talks to the website and you're logged in. And it's even easier. It's even easier than using, when they email you a magical sign-in link and things like that are sort of passwordless. So this is the part. Repeat after me, Jeff. Hi, Ricky.
Yeah.
Hi, Ricky.
Yeah. Hi,
So,
Ricky.
it was demonstrated in the video by Ricky Mondello, and yeah, he goes way back at Microserver, so we knew him well. Anyway, so it's cool, and I'm super looking forward to it. People will roll their eyes and as soon as you start talking about passwords and password managers and things like this. So anything that makes it easier for me to log into my own stuff and harder for somebody who is not me, I am 100% for this. And that's why I've been banging the password manager drum for like a decade now, because it's gotten easy enough that people can do it who don't have to be InfoSec people, don't have to be in IT, don't have to be family IT. Any regular old person can use iCloud Keychain at a bare minimum and let it take care of everything for you, and you can free up that part of your brain for other stuff. So like keeping track of all the bugs in all your Apple software. So I'm glad that this is happening, and anything that Apple can do to shine more light on making security better and making people's data more secure, I am 100% for.
Agree.
I'm excited for this because once 1Password has passkey support, I can start using passkeys. Because right now, passkeys are a thing that you use in Safari on supported websites. So I need to use Microsoft Edge because I don't want to use Chrome, but I can't use Safari for a lot of the stuff that I do.
Mm-hmm.
So no passkeys for me. So this will be great, because now I'll finally be able to do that. Now all I need are some websites that let me use passkeys.
And that's another thing about this is Apple getting behind it and 1Password starting to support it means that people will start asking for it. Developers will have an easier time implementing it, and maybe it will end up becoming more common over time. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And there's a number of sites already are supporting it. I know PayPal is, I think eBay is, and some others. So the list will start growing, rather exponentially here,
Yeah.
and
Yay.
as we go. So
Cool.
so I think it's Yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be happening here, people. Next story here is Apple is saying it's going to be too late to get an iPhone 14 Pro online before Christmas. This was written by our friend Andrew Orr on Apple Insider. Apple has shared order by dates for online purchases to ensure the arrival before Christmas for many of its products, but key deadlines have already passed. We're only like not even before Thanksgiving here. Latest dates to order holiday gifts with free shipping in most cities. Shoppers can get stock items from their local Apple stores late as December 24th. But I think because of the high demand and probably supply chain issue, as well as the factories having COVID issues in China, are having a bit of a challenge here to get the iPhone 14, the Pro, and the Pro Max are very high demand right now. It's definitely going to probably could creep into next year if you're not able to jump on this. So it's listing all the other products that are probably be available, and I think maybe the AirPods will be won't be much of a challenge because there've been some pretty good discounts on the AirPods Pro too. So yeah, what do you think, Kelly?
I think this is interesting because I don't remember it being this hard to get a hold of a new phone this late in the game relatively. We're like 2 months in now, I think.
Yeah, September.
Like you started ordering them in September, I think. And even Mr. Kelly got a Pro Max. And when I ordered that, it was the better part of a month. It was either 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And I ordered that in, how long as he had it? I ordered it at the early October, and it was early November before he got it. So I don't know, I don't recall it being this hard this long after the release date to get a hold of a phone in a long time, if
yeah, this is
ever.
very unusual.
So yeah, the thing that I was wondering is it just the Pro and the Pro Max, or was it just the 14? Was the 14 part of that too?
I think it was just the Pro and the Pro Max.
Yeah,
That's the one that's been the highest demand.
Yeah, because of that.
I don't think the Plus or the iPhone 14 has been a problem.
Yeah. I didn't think it had been, but I'm just sort of surprised because it's just not the norm generally. So
yeah.
Supply chain issues.
Yeah, I think the closure of the China's plant because of COVID concerns didn't exactly help either.
Yeah. It's for me when I saw this story, I just immediately went to, okay, I'll wait for the iPhone 15 because I have my 12, and I was thinking, by the time the holiday season rolls around, the supply chain will be worked out, and it'll be easier to get a hold of. And no, that's not the case. And so by the time they're easily available, and I'm ready to get one, it'll be close, probably close enough to the 15 that it'll be like, I'll just wait a couple more months, and
and get that sweet USB-C charging.
And I'll get the sweet USB-C charging iPhone.
Can't wait
15.
to start. We got talking about that. Oh boy. Next story here is we talked about this a couple weeks ago that Apple had iCloud.com. The website is in beta, and they're doing some amazing redesigns. Well, it's live. It's no longer in beta, and it is absolutely beautiful. If you go to iCloud.com, sign into your account, and my gosh, it's got some great widgets. They're all every set up, and they pop up when you hover over them, and you can customize what widgets can appear on the page, and there's just all kinds of great customizations, and it's absolutely beautiful interface here because you can customize it just by clicking a customize button, and they wiggle just like icons on an iPhone, and you can move them around and all that fun stuff, and it's really great. So I've got it set up so it. I like to see hide my email. I absolutely love hide my email.
Oh, good.
It is so awesome. I know whenever I want to subscribe to something now, I just go and copy paste what I already have existing and just use that. I don't even have to create new ones. So I've got a couple I use, but you can put that there. You can put the drive. You can put your iWork applications there. It shows your profile and even the custom domain. I have a custom email domain set up. I can get to that real quickly. My notes. So it's really, really, really slick. So I would definitely recommend checking it out if you guys have taken a look at that just yet.
Yeah.
But
It's nice to see somebody pay attention to that user interface, because it does feel like, the Apple TV of user interfaces, like the people who use it all the time and
Yeah.
have a lot of legitimate complaints about it. And, it hasn't been updated in forever. It doesn't, it's not, it's not useful. It's sort of confusing. It's looked like that forever.
Yeah.
Like it was the web page equivalent of having the pinstripes on everything still. Like, every so often you see a screenshot of
Right.
something with the pinstripes on it, like, wow, that was a long time ago. It was the same sort of thing with the iCloud website. So I'm glad to see that it's better and that you can customize it, because not everybody needs, all of those things in front of them all the time. Some people use it for various things and now have the ability to do so. And I'm glad to see that that got a refresh. So
and very quick out of beta too, which was great.
yeah, because we
have you,
talked about that not that long ago.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So it was October.
Yeah.
Jeff, have you tried it yet? Have you been looking at that?
I've poked around in it, and it's an interface refresh that was long overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Apple can't work on everything all at once on a specific product. So a while ago they did some feature and usability updates, but the interface didn't get any love. That just happened. So what I'm hoping is that what they just rolled out is the next step in a bigger refresh on the feature set. But they needed to have the interface ready to go, so that when these new features and feature updates roll out, they've got what they need in place.
There is, right? There's stuff coming, like the whiteboard collaboration thing. Is that part of this? Because don't you have to have iCloud in order to do that?
Well, you need an Apple ID.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, which gives you an iCloud account, but but you need iOS, or excuse me, iPad OS 16.2 to be able to use Freeform.
Right, but I know Freeform, that's what it was called. But I know it's coming, and so like now that the website is in place, then when 16.2 comes out, maybe that, this is supporting part of that. It was sort of my presumption. So that it does all fit together.
It should be there. When you go to add tile, it does give, like if you want individual widgets for specific apps like mail, of course are there. If you want just your calendar, which I may add that. And then the other things I mentioned, then or you can just add all the apps, which is already there. I have so you can set that up very easily. And there's the small square widget or the wider rectangular widget, depending on which one you want to add. So
cool.
But yeah, no, I might use this a little more, because I really love this as far as this interface goes. So. Then the last story for this week, as we're recording, this is heading into the weekend just before Thanksgiving. Black Friday, of course, is the big day after Thanksgiving in the United States. Many places are already having some pretty amazing discounts on Apple products. Now this one I've noted, Apple is going to hold its own Black Friday shopping event, which is on November 25th. And it'll be between Black Friday, November 25th, and Cyber Monday on November 28th. Go figure. And where customers will be eligible to get a gift card when they purchase select Apple products. So it's a long list here. The iPhone 13, 13 Mini, 12, and SE, you get up to $50. The AirPods Pro and the AirPods Max, you get up to $75. So it's got some good deals here. The Magic Keyboard gets you $50, and so a nice way to be able to spend a little extra money at Apple after the fact here. But and again, there's going to be so many other great deals. I think I saw the AirPods Pro 2nd Gen as low as about $230. That's a pretty good discount for a product that just came out.
Really?
Pretty not too long ago. So,
I've been considering upgrading, and today has underscored my desire to upgrade.
I did my review last week of my review last week of the AirPods Pro 2 I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
Because I went on a vacation, flew to Vegas, and always carry my trusty Bose QC35s, and I left them in my bag, because as soon as I put this into the noise cancel mode, I did not hear any airplane noise, none. It was
That's
completely blocked out.
Mm.
Absolutely enjoyable, because it was a 4-hour flight. So
yeah.
I got to enjoy all kinds of great video content I downloaded, and I didn't even have to. I wasn't bothering me one bit. It was all nice noise canceling and great.
This might be a weird sounding question, but you didn't get a headache or anything?
No.
Okay.
Not
Because
at
like the over ears, the last time I did over ear noise canceling on a plane, I think it was something about the pressure or something, gave me a headache. Turns out I'm not the only person that happens to. But that was part of one of the things I think they pointed out in the pros is that in the AirPods Pros is that they have a vent in them so that that doesn't happen, because I think it's the pressure that messes with your head. And because I had to mow the lawn today, and that was part of why I wanted AirPods Pro in the first place, was so that I could have good noise cancellation.
Cancel all that out with all the lawnmower noise.
Yeah, I mean, it's less of a priority because I don't have a whole lot of lawn mowing left in the next 6 months.
This is true.
But that doesn't mean I don't really want them. So
well, there's one of your gifts for Black Friday. Check out those.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that screaming deal, because that sounds like a preferable option. So yeah, interesting.
Any other thoughts, Jeff, before we move on?
No, let's move on.
All right.
I just want to point out, I think it's interesting that they're not giving you a gift card if you get a 14, so it's not even like there's a consolation prize.
Oh, it's not even.
Wait for your new phone.
Because they know
okay, that's funny.
You can't buy them.
I know, but they should still be like, here's a gift card you could put under the tree in the meantime.
Yeah.
Here's $50 for a new case. When your phone shows up eventually, you'll be able to, the case will be free. You're welcome. Yeah, but no.
Let's go ahead and move on to topics this week. As we always talk about each week, beta. The third betas of 16.2 on iOS and iPadOS came out this week. Which is actually just 1 week after beta 2 came out. So that seems like they're accelerating getting this going, because I only want to anticipate probably releasing this in December before everybody gets their gifts in Christmas.
New devices, yeah.
Of course, a number of things are added, and finally, you got the Freeform app, which can be used to jot down notes, sketching, drawing. We're going to talk about, Jeff and I just tried it a little bit earlier today, and as a record. So we'll make give us our views of that, which is really cool. And it also brings external display to support with Stage Manager for multitasking on the M1 and M2 iPad models. Mm-hmm. And Apple has added a new home app architecture coming in iPadOS 16.2, which is designed to bring faster, more reliable performance, which is overly needed. And then we're also talking about, we're going to talk about in a little bit here is the emergency SOS calls, which is now live as well. So, Jeff, have you looked at any of the home app stuff that's been updated in 16.2 iPad?
I've played around with a few things, but really the thing that I've poked around with most is Freeform.
Okay, great. Well, glad we were able to do a demo. We'll talk about that just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with it solo, but getting to do the demo or the collaborate, that was really cool.
Yeah, it was. So also WatchOS 9.2 was released. Of course, nothing very notable. The home app will be on the WatchOS. I'll be interesting to see where that goes. None of us are beta testing that now because I'm not going to use
because we're not crazy.
Yeah, we're not crazy to put it on our watch, but
I also don't have a backup watch laying around to
exactly
put that on and test it on my other arm. So
exactly, and then tvOS 16.2 is out as well. They did add a new Siri voice recognition feature, allowing the Apple TV to recognize each person in the household by voice, which I think that's pretty cool. Swapping over to the appropriate profile, that'll make it easier to switch between Apple TV users, get the correct music, TV shows, recommendations. I gotta start using that for the other family members. That's cool. So finally, we're starting to see a little bit of cool things we actually could talk about with tvOS.
Stuff we should have been able to talk about 2 years ago, but yes,
exactly. One thing I got today on this 10R that I do have on beta, that's iPhone, is Apple did release the rapid security response update for beta testers.
Oh,
And this is one of the new features in iOS 16 is the rapid security response, which will let Apple push out important security fixes to users without the requiring a full iOS update. So the users running this in 16.2 beta today, actually it was yesterday, but I just saw it today as we record, is one of those updates to be delivered with unspecified bug fixes affecting the software. Well, turns out this was just a rapid response test purposes, so it doesn't have any security content. So Apple was testing it, that's what we do in beta. So that's good for them. And I put a screenshot of it in the show notes so you can see what it looks like when it pops up. Because I looked like, wow, that's weird. So it actually says iOS security response, just like it says when a new version of iOS pops up. And I think it's cool. I think this is a very smart thing Apple's finally doing, and they can be quicker with responding to security updates. That we remember that these security updates sit and stew and don't happen for a period of time. So
well, and it's also more obvious because like we know that the less they say about the update that they release, the more important it is to install it. But a person who looks at that screen and goes, it doesn't say I have to do any, like, it doesn't say it's important. It doesn't say it's a thing. Right. There's nothing that communicates to me as a person only going off the information I got on the screen that this is a thing that absolutely has to happen. I need to prioritize. It never says that. And so having this be, security response tells me a little bit more about what's happening. And it gives me a much clearer line between you should update to 16.2.7, bug fixes and improvements versus security response, which tells me, oh, it's a security thing. I need to push OK. And so I'm glad that this is happening and making it more obvious when it's a thing that you need to be doing. So yay.
Absolutely. Any thoughts on that, Jeff, before we move on?
Yes. I like what they're doing. I did not like the way this played out. So yesterday, when the update rolled out, I found out about it a few minutes after they released it, and I'm like, holy forking shirt balls. If they're rolling out a rapid security update for the beta, whatever it is really, really bad. And I'm tapping update as fast as I can, and then it finishes fast, and then I'm on with my day. And I kept wondering, what was it that's so bad that they had to release an emergency security update for a developer beta? And then today we find out, oh no, it's just a test. Fracking say that. They should have made it clear.
Yeah, they should have.
That's what they were doing.
People would freak.
I can see that.
But that's the whole intent of it, though. I think this is, like Kelly said,
it got the response Apple wanted, which was holy crap, I need to install this now. Which was then followed by, really? You couldn't have told me you were just doing a test. I still would have installed it immediately. But
they got us.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to that. It'll be out on 16.2, which is all in beta. And as we always say, don't install beta on your production device, please. That's very important. Quick mentions here. iPhone 14 Pro is always on display. Doesn't need to show your wallpaper anymore. So they make some changes there. You can disable wallpaper and notifications for the always on display, save some battery life. And then on watchOS 9.2 beta, they're also going to include a race route workout feature for runners and cyclists. So we'll dive into those as those come up. So, but what I want to talk about is the emergency SOS satellite. It's been talked about for the last few months that Apple, of course, came out with this feature. And what it does is it allows you to be able to be in a location that's very remote and be able to make a call if you're in an emergency situation, because it beams up to the satellite and allows you to definitely connect. They did partner with Global Star Satellite Communications and they put some good money into this. So to want to have this as because if you don't have cellular or Wi-Fi coverage, you're in an emergency, what are you going to do? And we've never had this option before. So how do you activate it? Well, it's going to be in the settings here. So when you go into settings on the iPhone, it's there now with the latest update to 16.1.1. You go into settings and then you scroll down to emergency SOS, and then there's all the features that tells you about emergency SOS. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom there, there's an emergency SOS via satellite, and you can tap try demo. So it actually allows you to demonstrate it, to try it out first before you go out to your hike in the middle of nowhere. And so when you click next, it's gonna tell you through all the steps like we've talked about, where it asks the questions. Then you go in and test the satellite connection. And once you do that, it's going to shut the cellular off, shut the Wi-Fi off, and put it in SOS mode. Then you got to go outside, and then you start moving around crazily, trying to be a position where the satellite is above you. And then it'll actually go through and let you test it, which I think is great.
I love that they're testing it, that you can walk through it ahead of time and have some sort of idea what to do if you ever end up in a situation where you need it. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where this goes. I think it's something that's going to be really great. So what do you think, Jeff? I mean, think this is something that's long overdue.
This is very cool. And I have a friend who did the whole test and then sent me a screenshot of every single step along the way so I could look and see how the process works. This is very cool. And the ability to demo it before you need it is so important, because you don't want to be in a high stress situation and then have to try and figure out how emergency SOS works. So my recommendation is, if you have an iPhone 14, even though you don't think that you're ever going to go into the backcountry where you will need to have a satellite connection to save your life, do this anyhow. Learn how it works. Because what if you are in your car and you get stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you can't get a good cell signal, and there's some sort of emergency? Well, it would be good to know how this works before you need it.
I've been in that situation, and it is not great. 0 stars. Do not recommend. And there are still parts of Oregon where it is not hard to end up with 0 cellular signal. Or I would imagine by extension, if there were some sort of cellular outage and you needed assistance, if you don't have any cell signal, it doesn't really matter why, but if something were to happen, then at least you have, you've walked through it and you have some idea what to do. And that's the part I think is really nice, is that you get the opportunity to do it. Like Jeff was saying, you're having to solve for a much larger problem if you actually need the SOS feature. So having to learn a whole new thing and walk through something that you've never seen before is not a great way to try to respond if you have some sort of situation. So I'm really glad it's something you can test. I hope they make a great big deal about the fact that you can test it and encourage everyone to do so, just so that people have an idea. It's one of those things, like testing the things that you get, like if you get a generator because your power goes out a lot, like understand how you set that up and make it work and all of that, ahead of time. So hopefully this will end up being one of those things where lots of people figure it out and it ends up being really helpful to a lot of folks. I'm looking forward to it because like I said earlier, Mr. Kelly has a 14 Pro Max, and
so you could try
and he's a person who hikes a lot, so and does go out in the wilderness where there is no cell signal, and this will make it a lot easier for him to only take one device, because he currently has a separate thing that he will usually take with him that locks on the satellite, and you can hit a button and say that you need help or whatever. So he'll get to slim down and not take a whole separate device that requires some sort of power, whether it's recharging or batteries or whatever. And like being able to use it and have it be super handy and very helpful, I think is going to be great. So yay.
Dave, this underscores a deficiency in Apple services and interfaces that's been there since the iPhone was introduced. And I'm going to ask you what should be a very simple question. What are the steps to initiate an emergency phone call on your iPhone?
Well, you have to go in. Go ahead.
Well, I think you hit the side button 5 times, right? if you turned
that-
that on.
That does the lock thing.
The emergency.
Oh, I thought that was 911. See?
Well, you could press and
Here's
hold
the-
the side button on either volume button to make an emergency call, and then because when you call
Here's the
911 and then there's no signal, that's when it's going to go on to the satellite and connect
Right.
to the emergency SOS.
Well, I
Um,
mean, just like a regular 911 call, because
Right.
Apple has a way to do that without having to dial 911, but they don't
Mhm.
give you a way to practice doing that.
No. Other than demo.
And I've been at multiple situations where, like bad car wrecks, where there'll be 4 or 5 people standing around looking at their iPhones trying to figure out how to make that emergency call thing work. And while they're doing that, I'm just like, phone, dial 911 and make a
So-
call, and everyone else is still lost just trying to figure out how to do the emergency call thing.
Okay, so how do you do it if it's not?
I
hit
don't
the
even
button 5
remember
times?
anymore because it's faster for me to unlock my phone, tap the phone thing, tap the keyboard, and go 911 dial.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think, like it says, press and hold the side button and either volume button to make an emergency call. You could do it that way too.
Okay,
Not-
so Apple needs to have a way for us to practice doing this, so that people, because
Oh.
if you don't know how to do it
Right.
and you aren't familiar with it in an emergency situation, you are not going to do it.
yeah,
It is-
I agree.
It is power and volume. If you hold them, if you press and release them, you take a screenshot. If you press and hold them, now you get slide to power off, medical ID, and
Oh,
emergency.
yep, there it
call.
is.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and I would have already had my phone unlocked and dialed 911 by the time you get the whole screen up.
Yeah, they need to improve that.
Mine was
You're right.
mine was pretty fast. So that's cool. But now I know what it is. Will I remember that? Probably not, because
No,
I didn't get
because
to
you can't
practice it.
practice.
Can't practice without
Well,
calling.
yeah, you can go that far and then and see that it says that now. But I don't. But yeah, you can't like walk through it or anything. So interesting. Okay,
Yep.
now we know.
All right, let's move on and talk about the Freeform app. We, as I mentioned, Jeff and I actually today, as we record, we were able to test it out, and
I'm very interested in this.
then what Jeff's, we promptly says, freaking holy shirt balls here. It is pretty amazingly cool. So yeah, what you do is you get the Freeform app. You got it installed on the iPad. It also works on the iPhone, iPhone 14, and you start just Freeform drawing. I put a web link, and Jeff took a picture. Took a picture. There's sticky notes. So Freeform.
So-
And
Okay, so what is it though? Like, does your screen just turn into a big white screen and you can pick up your pencil and scribble?
on the video here,
or-
I'll show it on this iPad here. But that's what
Yeah,
it
and
looks
look,
like.
I have the same thing on my end.
There we
so-
go.
It
Okay.
yeah. So it does have. I know it might be hard to see because it's the white, but
Okay, so it's and you have to install an app called Freeform on your iPad.
It installs automatically as
Right.
part
Okay.
of iPadOS 16.2.
Okay,
yeah, it might be hard
but
to see
only if
this.
you have an M series iPad.
Nope.
Yeah.
This
If you
is
see-
an old 10-inch iPad.
Oh.
This is the shortcut right here. That's the
Okay.
Freeform app there. That's what it looks like. I'm
Okay,
showing it on video for those listening.
and okay,
And it just opens up as a Freeform whiteboard, and you can you have drawing the drawing tools. You also have the sticky notes that you can add and put notes in there. It has shapes and geometry and all kinds of objects. A whole long list of very similar. This is very
Okay.
similar to like GoodNotes, a lot of those note taking apps that have a lot of this.
Okay.
You can add a text box very easily, by typing text. And then you can add photos, and the photos are broken down to by photos or videos, the camera.
okay,
You can scan something. You can do a link. So if you put an actual web link, it actually will show the form. Like I just did it with In Touch with iOS, and it showed the actual the quick link view of the page.
okay.
And then you can also insert from and go to the Files app too. So if you have a file here, you can
Okay.
attach a file right into the Freeform.
Yeah, I just ran into a problem.
And this is
Um,
one. Yes.
And
I put a
don't- unless-
shape on,
I see.
and I realized, oh, that shape isn't where I want it at all. I can't select the shapes and move them. But Dave, you just did. I watched them move.
Yeah, I just moved them. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
I think
and
you can't. You just
see
have to
where
tap it. Do
I
you
put-
see the square when I tap it? The circle, I just tapped it, and it actually shows the editing, and then the little edit bar comes up, and then allows you to delete it, or you can. It has other menu things that you can go in here and actually show this. I don't know. It'll be hard to show.
and I'm getting
it's too bad with the white. So
like lines and stuff. So
Yeah.
when I tap, it's actually drawing instead of
there you
letting
go.
me do my. There we
Yeah,
go.
so-
I got it to start
Okay.
working.
Yeah, you're
And
moving.
that's-
I see it.
and
It's
this is
freaky,
only-
and it's real time too.
And this
Look
is
at
the
way
the
it's-
six,
the way
the
this light is
16.2
shining in
beta.
my face here. Yeah, no, this is super cool. Super cool. I can't wait to start using this more and you just put high in the one shape you did, and
Yeah. So that was basically real time.
it was. Yeah, I saw
So-
it happen as he did it. So
And this is only right now. This is only if you have a beta installed on an iPad.
16.2 is what this is
Mhm.
going to be included in. Yeah.
Okay.
So once 16.2 releases to the public, yeah, you'll have
Okay.
this. And it's super cool.
Okay.
There's an article in the show notes here that Mac Rumors wrote, and it shows
Mhm.
10. It actually is 10 things, and it described what we just talked about: shapes and images, scanning documents, and stickies, and text insertion, drawing tools, colors, and you have object movement. Yeah, it's really flexible. And you can do multiple boards too, so you can create a bunch of multiple boards at once. They're all laid out, and you can go between them. And yeah, I think this is something that I think Apple did good with this. So, but yeah, check
Yeah,
out that
this is
article,
cool.
and we're gonna definitely be talking about it more once it comes out in the beta. So, on the
Awesome.
beta, I should say. Next topic here, Jeff's favorite topic is the HomePod.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be fun to talk about here because it is the HomePod Mini is now 2 years old. I can't believe it. It's been 2 years since the HomePod Mini came out, and I remember vividly that Kelly. By the way, happy birthday! Your birthday was
Thank you.
yesterday,
Yes.
and I vividly remember 2 years ago that you got the HomePod Mini as a birthday
did.
gift.
Yes.
So, where do we think the future of this is going to be? Do you think the full size HomePod is going to make a comeback? And we also I really want to address some of the pain points. I know, Jeff, you've been very vocal. That's why I tease, but you have been
That's
very
fair.
vocal. It's just been such a problem with a lot of the things, the HomePod, especially the updates to it and trying to get it
But also,
updated. And
You're OG only, correct, Jeff? You don't. Do you
I have
a
an
mini?
OG and I have a set of minis.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
I'm
do
the
have.
same way.
You do have. Okay, you do have minis then. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember
Um,
who it is. I know somebody that doesn't have minis, and I can't remember who it is. But anyway.
I've got 2 here and one at another home. So
Oh, I
that's how that
have
counts,
I
so.
have a fleet of them because Costco had them on like $10 off, and so there was a couple of months where every time Mr. Kelly went to Costco, he came home with another HomePod mini.
So you got a collection of them there.
So there's like a fleet of them in my house now. So I see them. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
But I never had the big ones, so I've never had any of
I still have them. They're above
the
me here.
issues that Jeff has. So
Yeah, they're above me here.
will
and-
the full size OG style HomePod make a comeback? No, I do
No.
not think so.
You don't think so?
I think that we will get a different form factor in the HomePod line that
Mhm.
will probably be bigger than the Mini.
the HomePod Max.
Yeah, or they would just might call it the HomePod again. And it's just whatever the new form factor is.
And it'll be second gen or something, for documentational purposes or something, right?
Yeah, HomePod 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me at some point down the road if Apple did a combo device where it's a
Right.
HomePod soundbar with an Apple TV built in. I think that would be a really cool product for Apple to make. Now, I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if they did it. At the same time, I would be stunned if they did it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But Apple, they go on about how they're all about our home experience with our entertainment,
Mhm.
and they're all in on Apple TV Plus and Apple Music. So why not give us a device that really caters to that?
Yeah. Speakers with spatial audio. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's the
I
dream, right?
mean,
Apparently.
article here in the show notes that's from Mac Rumors that there are some rumors about that. Mark Gurman, obviously one of the guys that's very good with some of the predictions he makes, is saying that there's something Apple is working on this, but there's no specific.
Well,
Is it going to be one? Will it be have a camera? Will it be FaceTime available? I mean, that's been a lot of chatter with that. I find that I'm kind of skeptical about that.
the
honestly.
HomePod show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm skeptical about that. And at the same time, I disagree with your reaction, Kelly. A smart screen on the desk is actually a surprisingly useful thing.
I have
So
one. It's
much
called an iPad.
you have an iPad, that's not a smart screen on your desk. That's a tablet on your desk. I'm talking about, and I know I'm totally being a butt with the way I said that, but I have an
But-
Echo I have an Echo Show on my desk that I picked
Google.
up during an Amazon sale for cheap. And having a device that provides information
Mhm.
and ties in with the rest of my voice control and audio system throughout my place is actually surprisingly useful. So I've got this screen right down here right now, which is showing me information that I want available to me all the time. That is happening independently of my my iPad.
Mhm.
And while it doesn't sound like much, once you have it, it's like it's this thing where it's like, why have I not had this before?
It's like the Apple Watch. It's like you don't need it, but once you have it, it's unbelievably useful and super cool. And why doesn't everybody have one? Yeah, I totally get that.
Right. And I bought the small Echo. It's like the 5.5-inch screen. And it's great sitting here. And about a week after having it, I'm like, oh, I can't do all the widgets. You have to have the 8-inch screen for that. Well, crap, that would make this thing so much more useful, because then I could have the time and the weather, and I could be monitoring the outdoor camera all the time, and then have something else going on all on this one screen, and it's just a quick glance all the time.
Okay.
So while the idea of a HomePod with a screen on one hand seems really weird, now that I have an Echo Show, I'm wondering why Apple doesn't have this.
Well, two things. First of all, I never thought, I've said Apple should make a soundbar for a long time, but I always thought it was going to be an Apple TV, not a HomePod. That it was going to be an Apple TV that had
With
speakers in it
built in.
that is now a soundbar, and then you use that, and like we'll come to In Touch with iOS and we'll talk about how secretly those are just HomePod mini innards that are on either side of the little processor for the Apple TV, right? And then the whole thing is just your soundbar and you're done. And that once again solves the problem I think Apple has with the Apple TV, which is, what do I do with this box that you want me to hook up to my television? Well, if I need a new soundbar, there you go. That's part of why I think the stick's a good idea. So it never occurred to me that that would be a HomePod family, a member of the HomePod family. I'm surprised there's not a 2.0 with maybe a little more oomph in the speakers, or some nicer sort of processor in it to make it a little peppier in responding, and maybe with a detachable USB cable. I mean, I know that sounds like insanity, but that would be an amazing thing for me to have.
Yeah, that is crazy talk.
I know. A girl can dream, guys. The thing that I think is the fundamental hurdle of the assistant in the HomePod now might be helped by having a screen, in that Apple's voice assistant started life as a thing on your phone. which had a screen on it. And so having, and we've talked about this too, that Amazon's Assistant started out on devices that did not have screens and was only a voice assistant for a long, long time. And so
Right.
the A lady sometimes feels way ahead technologically, like, in an evolution discussion, seems like it's better evolved than the one from Apple. And primarily, I think that's because the Apple one started on a screen where you were just telling it to do the web search for you, and then the search results popped up, or it just showed you the thing on the screen and that was all it had to do. It never had to interact back with you because there was no way for it to give you any results otherwise. So the screen might actually, I could see that making it more useful. I don't know what it would cost. I don't know, how you would, what the speaker situation is like with that. I would like to see at least an iteration of it with, different colors, because we know the colors aren't ever going to match anything because Apple hasn't
Because that's
apparently
Apple's way.
figured
But
out
if
that,
if only there was a tool that would let you say color sync across medium.
I would really love to sync my colors across devices and just have the blue be the same blue or the green or whatever. But it'd be nice if it had a little nicer Wi-Fi radio in it, maybe nicer thread matter. I can't remember which it is for the network, but nicer radios for that. And make the home stuff a little bit more useful, a little more interesting, make it easier for people to get into using it to boss around stuff in your house. I think that would be a really good way to do that. Like, here's a new one, and figure out some way that we can't live without it. And maybe a screen would be that thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I mean, and you guys think there is not going to be the full size HomePod, but there's still some rumors out there, and they're
I
saying
think it'll
potentially
evolve. There may be
Yeah,
there may be a bigger one, but I don't think the one in Jeff's house is making a comeback.
no. And I've got them too. So I've got
Yeah.
two that I still use to this day, and I watch TV to the right of me here, and I love it when I don't want to have my AirPods on, and the Apple
Yeah.
TV is rocking it here, and so it does work. It does work really well. They still sound great. I mean,
Mhm.
look, hopefully they'll keep supporting them.
The sound quality was never the issue with the HomePod, with the original HomePod. Like, it
No.
always sounded amazing. That was never the problem. So it was just sort of in a weird middle space, because it was more than I just need some speakers prices, but it was less than someone like me who says, I've already solved this problem and I don't need another speaker that's way more than an inexpensive Bluetooth thing or something like that. And because, like, for the kind of sound that you're giving me for that, like, I've solved my high quality sound problems already, so I don't have any reason to get one of these. So it was super cool. It did sound amazing, but I just didn't have a place for it, anywhere in my household stack. It just didn't have a home. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
And
The minis replaced a bunch of A-Lady devices, so
yeah,
that made sense.
I'm still I have a mixture of everything here. And you were talking about the Echo Show. I was tempted to look at one of those because the pricing has come way down, especially on the lower end model, which is a perfectly fine model. But I've got the Google Nest Home Hub that's sitting here with
so
the
you
little
don't-
screen. That thing
so
rocks.
you have
I have it. So
But you
Yeah.
have that screen that Jeff's talking about, so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know of what he
and that's what I
sees.
do. I go into Google Chrome and I send the YouTube signal over whatever I want to watch, and I throw it onto that screen, so it's sitting next to me here, and I don't have it on my screen. So a lot of times I'm watching a video or something live, or yeah, it's kind of cool to be able to just have it right there next to me. And
Well, now I need
think
Apple to
about
do it because I got rid of all my
Yeah.
Amazon devices and I'm not interested in getting any Google ones. So
Yeah.
come on, Apple.
I have them, so
I just had a birthday. Make it happen.
yes,
there you go.
And we both
For
just
Kelly.
had a birthday, so.
Yeah.
So one last thing I wanted to talk about. There was an app here I wanted to mention here, and I think I've talked about this before. I can't remember when, but there's this app called Weather on the Way, and it's a paid service. But the cool thing is now they've added CarPlay support.
Oh,
So it's a live radar on your screen. So there's an actual live radar on the screen in your car on the CarPlay, and gives you forecasts about and the driving route. So it tells you where you're going to have trouble with driving. So it
Oh.
combines travel with weather with and with the radar, and I think it's really cool.
Mhm.
It's not free, so you have to. It is a free download, but you do have to.
25
It's a
bucks a year.
$25 a year, but you can
Very
also get a
reasonable.
lifetime. Yeah, you got a lifetime purchase for 85 bucks. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of tempted. I mean, they do give you 7-day trials. You have to, of course, sign up and
Sure.
get hooked up to your account and all that stuff. But I think this is super cool. The fact of having it in CarPlay and being able to look at the weather that easily right
Mhm.
on your the screen in your car is pretty slick.
Well, and
That's
especially
very cool.
where both of you are, that seems exceptionally relevant because, like, Jeff, you could have a blizzard at any moment. It'd be really nice to know
Not
to
as
get
often
any
here,
kind
but
of advance
mm,
warning. But
Mm-hmm.
you do regularly experience extreme weather conditions as well, David. So it would be nice, if the weather is bad, it would be good, if you're in bad weather season, it would be nice to know if it's about to get worse.
yeah,
So I can totally see that. This is probably way more convenient than the way I normally track the weather,
yeah.
which is about to go away, which is using the PDX TST hashtag on Twitter, which stands for Portland Twitter Storm Team, because you have to pronounce the exclamation points. So that used to be how I would watch. Like, look,
Yeah.
the ice is here and it's moving south and it's moving south and it's moving south and I have to go home now. And it was nice to have that option, but that's probably going away. So if I need that, this is probably going to be the next best thing.
Absolutely. Well, what a great show this week. We had a lot of great topics, a lot of good discussion, and let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at intouchwithios for now. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We do have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we live stream, which is usually on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the show live as Ben and many others in the chat room did this week. Appreciate it. And you can also listen to and watch past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to our show in your favorite podcatcher, including Overcast and Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Vmir, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at mastodon.com. Oh, no, I'm sorry, mastodon.cloud/DaveG65, or on Twitter at DaveG65. Kelly Gamont, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And where can folks find you?
It's always super fun to be here. I'm always glad to you have me, and I'm always happy to be invited back. You can find me on Mastodon. I am Verso at mastodon.social.
Maybe.
Is that the big one?
Yeah.
The one where everybody is? That's the one I want. Because I set my account up in like 2018. So I've been there for a long time. So you can hit me up there. You can find me on the Glass app for iOS because I like to hang out there instead of Instagram. And you can find me over on the Incomparable Network if you are so inclined. As we record this, it is now Life Day. So happy Life Day, everybody. And I was part of a commentary episode where select incomparable panelists, I described it at the time as have flung ourselves upon the Betamax hand grenade that is the Star Wars holiday special. So you can go check that out and listen to us react to everything happening in that show, which is kind of a lot.
That's great.
You can also find me over there on I Want My MCU TV, where we talk about the latest Marvel Entertainment Unit streaming on Disney Plus. You can there's one episode left of Greetings from the Uncanny Valley, which is the show I used to do. It's past tense now. about Westworld with my friend Don Melton, and yeah, the check's in the mail, Don. He lets me say that for a nominal fee every month. And the rest of the time, if I'm not on Mastodon, you can find me most other places as Verso.
Thanks. Jeff Gamet, as always, a pleasure to have you. Where can people find you?
It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm Jay Gamet on all the socials. So Twitter, as long as it's still here, Instagram, YouTube, and mastodon.social. And yeah, Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, Thursdays on The Big Show and here, and then Fridays on The Mac Show. And then also on The Context Machine, Brian Chaffin and I have teamed up again. And yeah, I guess I get around.
Well, thank you for being here. And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. And in the United States, it'll be Thanksgiving next week as this is dropped. And I hope everybody in the United States has a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and enjoy lots of great food. And we'll talk again soon. Thank you. Good
So
stuff.
I checked Amazon during the show,
Yeah.
and they're doing another promo sale on the Echo shows. So when I got the 5-inch model, I bought it for $35.
Oh my
So it's
God.
back down to $35.
Dang.
I might have to buy it.
I mean, at
Well-
$35, it was an easy experiment.
Yeah.
The 8-inch one is $69.99 now.
Oh, dang.
So
That's not bad.
$60 off.
My dad might need one of those. I could see him finding that infinitely useful. So while you were wrapping up the show, David, I just sat here and you saw me take out my Brett. They're called, I think it's called a Tacticlip. So it doesn't show very well, but that edge is a serrated edge, and this part is very pointy. And there's a ruler on the other side as well. Plus they're a cool color, and I can open Amazon packages with these, and so they are
That's-
awesome. They are
That's
and
dangerous.
well, it's not, which is like the thing that's weird about it is like wearing them in my hair, like it doesn't hurt, they're not sharp, they don't poke me. But I can cut Amazon package tape with these, and that's what I was just doing. Because speaking of Amazon,
Oh, wow.
hey Jeff,
I love that stand.
that's why I bought it. So we'll
Yeah.
see if it does the thing I want.
It holds my 12.9-inch
Mhm.
iPad Pro really solid. The 10-inch iPad Pro goes in that all the time too.
Yeah.
It has been just a solid, really good iPad stand for me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I've gone through 2 others that I didn't like, and so I'm trying this one. Well, I had one that didn't do I have one, it wasn't right, and so I tried I bought one that didn't have a flat enough angle, because I kind of want my iPad to be like down, kind of like, slightly elevated,
Mhm.
so I can write on it, like you were saying for drawing, like that's what I want for it. And the stand that I bought, like the flattest it got was like 45 degrees, and then it went up from there, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. So so I bought the one that you recommended, so we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
So
I
that's
hope you
cool.
enjoyed it as much as I do.
So do either of you have suddenly I have a bunch of questions. I guess this is going to be tech support. Do either of you have a pair of HomePod minis hooked up as the sound to an Apple TV?
No.
I tried it
Okay.
once, but I don't anymore. I
It's
have them in
it's
2 separate
making me
rooms.
it's making me swear, because it's supposed to work like as a permanent setting. You can say, hey, Apple TV, these two HomePod minis that are set up in the Home app as a pair are your speakers, the end. And it
Mhm.
doesn't work.
Yeah, my
Anytime I try to
HomePods,
use it,
I have them as a pair. And they work great.
yeah, but anytime I try to do that, like I'll set it up and it'll go, okay, I'll play the sound out of this for you. And then I turn off the Apple TV, and then the next time I try to do it, it all comes out of the television. I'm like, no,
Which
Apple TV,
it's
this is
not
bad Apple
supposed to
TV.
do anymore.
No.
Right. So remember, David, I was on the show and you said they have a fix for this. And I said, yay, because that's the problem I'm having. I'm still having it. And I know my Apple TV is updated. I'm very grumpy about it.
Hmm.
So that was the thing I was wondering about. Yeah. That was the one I wanted to know the most. So
Well, I'm going to say goodnight to this live stream. Thanks for everybody who was in the chat and participated.
hi
And,
Ben. I didn't realize Ben
Yep,
who
Ben.
was in the live stream. So
Yeah.
hi Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
It's been forever.
Yep.
So yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, live stream. See you next time.